Vitumbiko Chinoko in the Malawian capital, and he's an advocate for climate change, especially when it's related to food and nutrition security with Care International. Thanks so much for joining us. How important is this decision to have a green leaf rating in the Michelin Guide and restaurants, because before it was always at the 3 stars?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And I need to appreciate the initiators of this important development. When it comes to environmental degradation that comes from the food industry, it is actually enormous. So we have, for example, up to 30% of food that is wasted. We have the whole supply chain that needs to be sustainable. We have the whole production process that for quite a long time has never been sustainable. And there's quite a lot of other questions in terms of how the production system, the supply chain, and even the consumption habits are actually helping or actually damaging the environment. So realizing that there is actually this initiative, I do think it is going to go a long way in ensuring that our environment is sustained. And I must say that I think what these restaurants have done is actually commendable. It's supposed to be an initiative that is supposed to make all of us reflect on our own lifestyles, whether in our industries, in our daily lives, we're actually helping to preserve and sustain the environment.
And do you think this is being also driven by consumers who maybe want to eat somewhere that is more ecologically friendly, like you mentioned, the waste, the supply chain, the consumption awareness, and not just does it have a Michelin star?
Yeah, so I think eventually this is supposed to be an environmental initiative, but in the end of the day, we also know that it's a marketing initiative, and I think this is a big question. So my hope is that this is not just a tokenism for marketing purposes, but that indeed they're going to look into all the processes, and that through this initiative, they're actually going to make a big dent in so far as preserving the environment is concerned, but also cutting on emissions. And we've seen, for example, in most of the countries, climate plans, which are the national determined contributions, where they've actually committed to relooking at their own production systems. And I do hope that they're going to be looking at how, for example, we can arrest the 30% emissions that come from food waste, that we can also arrest the 13% of greenhouse emissions that are coming from agriculture. And I think above that, we're also being to look at how, for example, collectively, we can reduce the emissions that come from the food systems, which actually account for the 5%. So my belief is that this is not just tokenism, that it is something that is going to make a big dent, but more than that, also make us reflect on our own lifestyle. So these things that we're seeing on the restaurants, I do hope that we're also going to see them in our homes.
And a question for you. A lot of foodies right now might be wondering, will the taste, the texture be compromised in any way?
Yeah, so that's a big question. Food is not just stomach. It's about aesthetics. It's about nutrition. It's about how good it makes you feel after you've eaten. And my hope is that I think in all this initiative, the initiators and also the processors into this industry, they're looking into all those aspects. And most importantly for us, it will be to ensure that all these initiatives don't compromise on nutrition, and particularly, for example, in the global south, where for quite a long time, production of food has just been for the sake of production, and these other elements, such as nutrition, have been neglected. So my hope is that indeed they're going to look into all the aspects of nutrition. They're going to look into the issues of food waste, but more importantly also how, for example, this initiative can help us contain the problem of climate change.
Vitumbiko Chinoko speaking to us about the new green leaf rating. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.